I haven't done one of these in a while. It's been a while since I've done a podcast. Now it's the Inverse podcast. It used to be the Here Nor There podcast, and now it's the Inverse podcast. So I will be pontificating a lot more about the weekly episodes and about my personal life and how these laws are affecting not only the Inverse Here Nor There, but also my personal life and the life of the ones I love, my daughter, my wife, my family, but also my members. This is where I share a little bit more about some of the private success stories that I'm privy to, public success stories, and also some behind the scenes things when it comes down to manifestation, self-concept, self-transformation. I was pretty much in a bit of a content rut for the last couple months. I was slow to post on YouTube. I was a little slow to do a lot of things behind the scenes aside from building out courses. It was a time to kind of go within and build out more quality content, quality courses, organize things in a way so my Inverse members, my one-on-one clients as well in the Inverse labs, that they're able to thrive even when I'm not around. I say a lot of information. I spew a lot of knowledge. And sometimes it's not too easy to absorb all of it at one time. So that's why I disperse it in different areas, because a podcast might reach somebody more so than a course will. The course might reach somebody more than a YouTube video will. The YouTube video might reach somebody more than a community post. But everybody has their different way of awakening their consciousness on the different levels. Because remember, consciousness is a cycle. You always continue to rise. You always continue to go through the rebirth and reascension cycle. Consciousness is always expanding, and it's a beautiful thing. And it's never as hard as the rookie season, the beginning days. But let's get into this specific topic. I'm going to talk about a few things here, but the theme of this episode will be success by subtraction, aka less is more. Doing less, getting more. Around the time I was in my mid-30s, I was a practitioner of Okinawan karate, the original karate. As a kid, I practiced Taekwondo, 9 years of Taekwondo from the ages of 6 all the way to my early teenage years. I returned back to martial arts in my mid-30s. Inspired by my daughter. She got into Taekwondo around her 7th or 8th birthday, and I did not want to do Taekwondo again, but I went back into karate, and I learned a lot from that experience. I was so eager because I already had the martial arts experience, but going into a different art form, it's like starting over. It's similar to if you're manifesting love, you get the love of your life, you get your SP back. Now you're moving over into money entrepreneurship, and you realize that, hey, this is the same, but not really. It's the same thing, but it doesn't feel like it is. I have to kind of go through the same thing. And karate was much like that. A lot of things translated over and a lot of things didn't. So I used to go to practice a little bit early on certain days to Eager Beaver. And something startled me one day. I went early on a Thursday morning. It was a random morning I had off, and I got there, and Sensei was already there. He's probably in his mid-60s now, but back then he was in his mid-50s. Sensei and Senpai were there. Sensei was an Okinawan gentleman, been practicing karate for, at that point, close to 50 years. He had started when he was 5, 6 years old. And Senpai was there, Eastern European gentleman named Sasha. And Sasha was strong as an ox. He was just strong. It was like one of those people that just strong and never lifted a weight. Big hands, big feet, strong guy. And Sensei was a smaller guy, but stronger than Sasha. It's crazy. But they were there, sweating, going in, sparring, aggressive practice. This was before the classes. They would practice for an hour, 2 hours before the youth class would come in. They train the children. Before the adults come in, they change the adults. And there were 2 youth classes. There was a class from, I believe, like 6 to 9, and then 9 to teenage, 10 to teenage years, 18. And then 18 and up was the adult class. But sometimes the 16-year-olds would practice with the adults because some of them are black belts already. Why am I telling this story? There was something I realized is that YouTube, TikTok, the internet would make you think that people who are content creators, people who are looked at as masters of this art of manifestation, that we just do everything on autopilot. And it's just so easy. We write something down, we say an affirmation, we wake up and everything. I'm here to tell you that we all go through the same thing, just in different phases, in different ways, at different levels. Just like the master showed up early to practice before he taught, as do I. Everything that I pass along to you, to my one-on-one clients, if that's not you, should be you. Ask me about it. We'll hop on a call and we'll talk about it. But before I teach anything, I have experienced it. I have learned it. I have tested it rigorously. I found what works, what doesn't work. It's my passion. I've always been like this with the law of assumption, law of attraction. So I practice before I teach. And then when you go off to put it to the test, or you relax after a day at work, or you relax after whatever's going on in your life, in whatever circumstances, good or bad, or sorry, they're all good, but whatever challenges, even after that, I go right back to it because I'm practicing these things in my life, in my love life, in my business life, in my health. I am the product of my product. So the theme I want to talk about today is success by subtraction. And what I have tapped into months ago for myself, for my clients who have had lots of success stories, is that less is more. The subconscious is very complex, but when it comes down to these affirmations, these commands, these limiting beliefs, and removing them is very simple, very complex, and very simple at the same. It's a bit of a paradox. And all of my clients that have had success, it's an overwhelming amount of clients that have had success, but I have not posted most of those because a lot of them are private. So I have to ask for permission just out of respect. And also the privacy is there for a reason because I was one of those success stories years ago when I was posting on Reddit, when I was posting in Facebook groups. Hey, this worked. I got my girl back. I got my job back. Oh, I got my career back on track. Oh, I got a promotion. And what happens is you get bombarded. Yes, it's a wonderful thing to share with others, but when you have to become the coach and you're not a coach, at the time at least, it's a bit overwhelming. And then what ends up happening is they start trying to place doubt in you about your own manifestations. Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, well, that doesn't work for me. Tell me something that works for me. And it's like, no, I'm telling you what works for me. So the law is perfect. The law works. But if you've ever been looking for proof and you don't see enough of it, it's because the people who come back, I was one of those persons, told my story and then made a YouTube channel. We are a rare breed because most people, if they do come back, if they have expressed a success story, they get bombarded. And as I said, sometimes it can get a little bit unfortunate because people start placing their doubts on your own manifestation and people just keep it to themselves. But never think that success isn't out there because you're surrounded by it. Surrounded by it. And a lot of people getting success, and it is even a small fraction of people who are getting success and they don't even know they have success because they're moving on to the next thing so much. So back to the point. Something that I practice in my personal life and in my professional life, and I teach my clients, and it has been working so smooth. It has been a very high success rate over the last 6 weeks since I started teaching this on a mass scale, is success by subtraction. The first unspoken rule about design is that you add all the components, add all the bells and whistles, get it to a place where you're visually satisfied with it, and then start removing things. What can you remove and the design still doesn't fall apart? That is the advanced elite level of design. Because design in and of itself is a subconscious language, because you're convincing people to buy something through organizing things by color, by size, by width, by space, the type of text you're choosing, the type of typeface you're choosing, it's the voice and the tone, the pictures, everything is a visual language to get somebody to buy something, because everything on the internet is a transaction, right? So with that being said, manifestation is the same way. You're designing your life by subtraction. A lot of times people have very surface level, super duper hyper advanced descriptions for their limiting beliefs. And what I found that the more words you say about your limiting belief, the less that actually is the limiting belief. You should be able to say what a limiting belief is in one sentence. And I train each and every one of you to do that. I train you to do that because that's how you're going to continue to move forward. Even when I'm not in your presence, when you can't get the group coaching or you can't get to the course and you got to make a decision on the fly, you know how to identify it. I always teach people to be autonomous. Come to the Universe coaching, come to the coursework, and I will nourish you. I will continue to guide, mentor, but also I mentor in a way to where you can make these decisions on the fly when you have nobody else but yourself, because that's what you're building towards. That's who you're trusting. You are a God within. So less is more. If you're coming up against a roadblock, a glass ceiling, whether it's your business, whether it is your money, your financial situation, whether it is your love life, the limiting belief that's holding any of these areas back is one sentence. No commas, no colons, no parentheses. It is one sentence. And so you continue to plug away until you get to that one sentence. You continue to plug away. If the limiting belief has to be 2-3 sentences because that's not it. You're close. You're hot, you're on the trail, but start subtracting. Start subtracting words, start subtracting phrases, and get down to a simple belief. I'll give you an example, one for money. This is how sneaky it can be. But again, this is not nothing to be frightened about. This is all empowerment, because ignorance is a sin. Amen? In the universe, ignorance is a sin. So, because the law doesn't care if you know or not. The law doesn't care if you know the law. Just like the law of humans, the law of man, the speed limit. The speed limit, the cops don't care if you know what the speed limit is. The speed limit is the speed limit. You break it, and universal law is the same. A lot of people think that their limiting belief is I'm not chosen. And I'm here to say 99.9% of the time is not that. It's not that. That has been something that's been regurgitated a lot online, YouTube, TikTok. A lot of times with the lady creators, the beautiful divine feminine out there, they push that. And shout out to them, because everybody has their place in consciousness. Everybody, we have our gateway teachers, we have our teachers that are a little bit more advanced. But you're to listen to me, so you're advanced, so we can get into it. I'm not chosen is typically never it, especially when you're dealing with love, job, whatever. Because to be in that situation, you were chosen. If you are dealing with a separation in love, and you're like, I'm not chosen, you wouldn't even be with the person if you weren't chosen. You never would have been chosen. You know what I'm saying? That's typically not it. What it is, when you start to peel it back, it is I'm not a priority. Something as simple as I'm not chosen is I'm not a priority. Because what happens when you're not a priority? People don't choose you first. I'm not chosen doesn't equate if you're being chosen, but you come after 3 or 4 other people. You come after this person over here. There's somebody else that's getting that person's attention. There's somebody else that's getting all the clients. There's somebody else that is getting all the accolades. Yeah, you get yours, which means you're chosen. You're just chosen second or third. And what it really means is I'm not chosen first, which means I am not a priority. So constantly dwelling on the I'm not chosen will not get rid of the reality where you're not chosen. Focusing on the limiting belief of I am not a priority. Or better yet, because the subconscious doesn't speak in negative terms, others are a priority over me. That one line of code in the subconscious mind is going to execute in love, in work, in friendship, in money, flawlessly. That's how powerful it is, but that's also how simple it is. Again, success by subtraction. We get to the limiting belief by subtracting until we have bare bones broth. No meat, no potatoes, just broth. And that is what the limiting belief is. And once you remove that simple line of code, it has a domino effect that you won't believe. But here's the thing. You knock over that one domino and you remove that belief. And you already know how to remove it. Write a letter of forgiveness to yourself, to whoever installed that memory in you. Whoever installed that program with you, and it probably came from childhood. If you need a little bit of a crash course on this, again, a reminder in this podcast, identify the feeling you get. Let's just say you were going with the I'm not chosen. Now you realize I'm not a priority. Now, what does that feel like? Okay, now define it. Again, one word. What does that feel like? Shame? Does it make you feel angry? You know? Then, now that you have the feeling, think as far back as you can, back to the golden child era, and think about the first time you felt that. That's where the memory came from. Mom or dad, granddaddy, grandmama, cousin, older brother, older sister, younger brother, younger sister. It came from there. Write the letter of forgiveness to yourself. Forgive them for what they installed, and now we can move on. That's how you remove limiting beliefs. Now, getting there, it takes a little bit of time. And it's fine. It's fine because nobody in this Universe program is in here trying to manifest text messages. We are all seasoned elite creators or on our way to be so. The things that you are manifesting are not cups of coffee, parking spaces, and text messages. We're talking about football numbers with a significant other. For those of you who don't know that slang, you look at a football jersey of an offensive lineman, 56, 57. Well, linebackers is like 56, 57. But offensive linemen like 68, 72. That's how old you're going to be with your SP. So if you're going through something now and it takes you 6 months to figure this out, change your self-concept, to spend 50 years, 60 years, 65 years with somebody, I think that's a high ROI, don't you? I can't beat that with a stick. So it has a domino effect. And what I've noticed in my own practice, my own teaching, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Now, this doesn't mean break out the clock and just start telling everybody my manifestation is going to come, because you do that, that's out of fear. That's not the right. Keep it to yourself. STFU is the golden rule, right? So the dominoes start to fall. And as long as you stay in that feeling, and I always recommend relief. I figured it out. I release it. You may not see the harvest a week later, 2 weeks later, But what I noticed is it compounds. A month later, you start to see breakthroughs. You start to see people changing how they act with you, how they behave with you, how they speak to you, how they show up for you. You know, all these things start happening, and it's a domino effect because reality is a shadow, and the shadow is changing, it's morphing, it's slowly changing. So your reality that you first imagined is now becoming the reality that you live every day. Because if it flipped automatically, it would have to do so for the negative, and we don't want no horror movie outcomes, right? When we have a bad thought or a bad day. So that's how the dominoes start to fall. Less is more, designed by Subtracting. That's the lesson for today. And if you came to this Innoverse program, this more advanced, high frequency program from one of my later videos, I appreciate you because I published 2 breakthrough videos. The What If God is Pretending to Be You video and the Third Eye video, God's Antenna video. And those videos are breaking through to a whole new audience. And so if you found me based off of those videos, I appreciate you. But even those videos themselves are a result of success by subtraction. Starting to remove some of the things that were probably holding me back as a creator. And then taking those lessons and then helping my fellow man, my fellow woman manifest their desires in my Innoverse program. So again, I appreciate you. More to come. The love course is on the way. The, some renditions 2.0, the self-concept course is on the way. Going to redo that whole thing, add to it, keep a lot of the more powerful things and add more context to it, add more resources to it. And of course, the Innoverse Labs program. If you want to work with me one-on-one, it's always available because that's when we can really get down to the nitty-gritty. But again, I'm going to be more consistent with these podcasts, get back to it, get the numbers up a little bit, and see about getting this on like Apple Music or something like that. See about getting like an Apple podcast going. And the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. So thank you for listening. You're neither here nor there. See you soon.